In Palestine, officials stress that attacks by the Israeli occupation forces continue throughout the Gaza Strip. In Panama, thousands of people mobilized throughout the country for the 19th consecutive day to reject the mining contract. In the United States, actors union end strike since May 2 after agreements with major studios. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Thursday, in Palestine, officials stressed that attacks by Israeli occupation forces continue throughout the Gaza Strip. On Wednesday night, dozens of Palestinians were killed as a result of the bombing in the refugee camps Jabalia and Sabra, bringing the death toll to more than 10,500 since October 7th. In the meantime, thousands of affected people are walking long distances to flee the fighting and bombing in northern Gaza. For its part, the Hamas group declared that in response to the siege carried out by Israel, its soldiers continue to successfully confront the occupying forces, destroying tanks and war vehicles. On Wednesday, 106 trucks of humanitarian aid entered Palestine through the Rafah border crossing. Local authorities pointed out that the units entered the Gaza Strip loaded with medical supplies, water and food, through the only entrance that is not controlled by the Israeli siege. They also pointed out that this new shipment did not include fuel, a resource necessary for the operation of hospitals, bakeries, and water purification plants. In this context, they pointed out that 12 ambulances transferred to Egyptian territory are all wounded to the hospital of Al-Arish, 40 kilometers from the Rafah border crossing. The Israeli siege of the Gaza Strip has been going on for more than a month. In recent days, Israeli attacks have mainly targeted hospitals, where thousands of people have been seeking refuge. A correspondent in Gaza, Noha Rasim, reports on the latest developments.
Day 34, and as the Israeli incursion in Gaza City continues, the attacks from air also continues, and apparently now and for the past 3 days, Israel have been heavily attacking Palestinian hospitals and around Palestinian hospitals. Today, overnight, and also in the early hours of the morning, the Israeli forces targeted several buildings and lands surrounding the Al-Shifa hospital, targeted also the front gate of Al-Nasser hospital, which is Gaza's only children's hospital and located in Al-Nasser neighborhood. During the past 24 hours, actually, the Israeli warplanes struck not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, in Jenin refugee camp, also in southern Lebanon and in southern East Damascus. So apparently this is a war in the region, not only between Gaza and Israel. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, the number of people killed has exceeded 10,300, while there is more than 2,500 reports of missing. So we're talking about 13,000 people killed in 34 days of Israel's war on the Gaza Strip. Regarding the humanitarian situation, it is just deteriorating. The fact that this is an ongoing war, an ongoing evacuation for the Palestinian people, so this makes the situation and the humanitarian situation in Gaza go even worse. Nur Harvazin, TeleSUR, Gaza.
The World Health Organization warns that the Gaza Strip faces a growing threat of the spread of infectious diseases amid the collapse of the health system, water supply, and sanitation. The UN agency reported that due to the worsening hostilities, severe overcrowding, and the disruption of health, water and sanitation system pose an additional danger. Thus, in mid-October, there have been several cases of diarrhea, scabies, and lice, chickenpox, skin rashes, and upper respiratory infections. The agency highlights as immediate causes the closure of desalination plants and the irregular of solid waste collection due to the lack of fuel. In the face of these dangerous trends, the WHO called for urgent and accelerated access of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip and calls on the parties to comply to the conflict with their obligations under international humanitarian law in order to protect civilians and infrastructure, including healthcare. A total of 99 employees of the United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees in the East perished in the Palestinian-Israel conflict zone in 1 month, UN Secretary-General spokesman Stefan Dujarric told at a press conference. Since October 9, Israel has kept the Palestinian enclave without basic supplies, although on October 16 it resumed water supplies to southern Gaza, where hundreds of thousands of civilians are displaced these days. Several countries called on Israel and Hamas to stop hostilities and negotiate a ceasefire. Voices are also multiplying in favor of a two-state solution as the only possible way to achieve lasting peace in the region. The hostilities have so far resulted in more than 1,500 deaths and nearly 5,500 wounded in Israel, and some 10,300 deaths and 25,100 wounded in the Gaza Strip, according to the latest available data. The Israeli occupation army is one of the most powerful in the world. However, the resistance militias in southern Lebanon have learned how to defeat it. The method has been learned by the Palestinian fighters. A special envoy to Lebanon, Alejandro Kirk, tells us how.
This behind my back is a museum to the Lebanese resistance. Here a fighting site, an operation center for 15 years until the Zionist invader was defeated, expelled from the Lebanese territory. But it hides some secrets that should be known because they can be key to understanding what is happening at this moment in Gaza. For 15 years, between 1985 and the year 2000, in the heart of this strategic mountain, the then emerging Lebanese resistance confronted successfully the Zionist invaders and their local allies. The guerrillas prepared for the Tel Aviv soldiers what they called the Abyss, represented here by this collection of captured weapons and the replica of an Israeli tank. As proclaimed by the leader of the Party of God, or Hezbollah, Sayed Nasrallah, Israel is but a fragile spider's web. Moses works here as a tour guide, but he is in reality a keen geopolitical analyst. He knows every nook and cranny of the defensive network and exudes confidence in the resistance ability to defeat any scheme of the Israeli regime.
Not only the tunnel was protecting the resistance, the oak forest too.
The tunnels are the military doctrine of the Sons of the Earth. The people of Vietnam showed it during the Japanese, French, and U.S. occupations. In southern Lebanon, as in Gaza, tunnels are the Zionist invaders' nightmare.
Israel used to bomb this place almost every day. For you to survive in this environment, you need a tunnel like this so you can stay alive. We have 50 meters of hard rocks above us on this mountain, so the fighters were well protected from the attacks of the Israeli army. It was dug by hand, with simple tools, so as not to make noise, because they have noise detectors. It was very hard, for 3 years. They worked day and night. Thousands of tons of rock and soil came out of here and they had to carry them far, on their backs, camouflaged and in silence, so the Israelis wouldn't find them. Otherwise, the whole mission would be a failure.
Would it be accurate to say that this is what is expected for the Zionists in Gaza?
Yes. They are actually expecting it. That's why they are making the Holocaust against the Palestinian. because by killing the people that kill the resistance. You win with perseverance, you win with courage, and you win with brains.
From the tunnels in Melita in southern Lebanon,
The Israeli warns of a social outbreak in the occupied West Bank due to the continuous aggression of Israeli occupation forces. The Arab League also condemned the intention of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to colonize large areas of the Palestinian West Bank and to expel its residents. Likewise, he spread through a statement that at least 163 Palestinians were killed and more than 2,000 were wounded by the Israeli military forces, and pointed out that this aggression has extended to the destruction of properties and agricultural crops. In this sense, it called on the world to condemn these attacks perpetrated illegally against the Palestinian national sovereignty. Let's take a short break. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, new dates, and more. Our study is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. On Wednesday in Panama, thousands mobilized for the 19th consecutive day nationwide rejection of the mining contract. Demonstrators were present in black clothes in homage to the two fatal victims killed on October 7 by the armed men. Since October 20th, tens of thousands of citizens, unions and social organizations have been staging massive demonstrations in rejection of the renewal of the 40-year concession to the Canadian mining company First Quantum to continue exploiting the largest open pit mine in all Central America. On Thursday, new mobilizations were called in the capital while there is a shortage of goods and services due to the blockades in the main arteries of Panama. The president of Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega, has expressed his support for Venezuela's consultative referendum on the Essequibo, recognizing Caracas' historical right to the territory. During the commemoration of the 47th anniversary of the immortality of Commander Carlos Fonseca, the Nicaraguan president sent his words to support to the people and government of Venezuela. In addition, Ortega revealed that President Nicolás Maduro is fighting the battle of Bolívar and Chávez, while denouncing that the government of Guyana is granting concessions to American companies on territory that does not belong to it. The Peruvian Congress postponed the debate on the dismissal of the members of the National Board of Justice that was to be held this Wednesday. This after multiple congressmen expressed that they will not attend the debates and the decisions that will be taken in the decision would have no legal value. Due to the resolution previously issued by the Superior Court of Justice that ordered not to continue the process against the National Justice Board. They also detailed that the eventual dismissal of the board members will be a judicial disobedience. In view of the situation, the President of the Congress, Alejandro Soto, appealed the judicial decision that prevents the legislature from removing the board. The President of Bolivia, Luis Arce, after 3 years in office, highlighted the result achieved in favor of the people in accordance with his government plans. The Bolivian president published a message on social networks in which he stated that during these 3 years, progress was made in the area of industrialization and in the creation of the basis for economic growth. In his management report presented to the Peruvian National Legislative Assembly, Arce emphasized that all the achievements obtained were thanks to the support of the Bolivian people. The leader highlighted the wisdom of the people and thanked them for their recognition and support for his government. Some 3,000 migrants from Central America, Venezuela, Cuba, and Haiti blocked traffic on one of Mexico's main southern highways on Wednesday to demand transit or exit visas to reach the U.S. border. The caravan of migrants set out on foot from Tapachula near the Guatemalan border on October 30, walking north toward the United States. The group, which includes many women and children, stopped walking in Huicha, another town in the southern state of Chiapas, where they tried to get temporary travel documents to cross Mexico. The southwestern border of the U.S. has struggled to cope with increasing number of migrants from South America who move quickly throughout the Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama before heading north. As of September, 420,000 migrants aided by Colombian smugglers have passed through the gap so far this year, according to Panamanian data. In the United States, an explosion on Wednesday at a chemical plant in Shepherd, Texas, has triggered a large fire and sent a massive plume of black smoke into the sky. According to local authorities, the blast took place at Sound Resource Solutions, a company that makes solvent for glue and paint remover. So far, no fatalities have been reported, but officials say one employee of the plant has been injured. An evacuation order has been issued for the residents of the Shepherd area northeast of Houston. Authorities said that the air monitoring is ongoing and so far no chemical have been detected. The cause of the explosion is being investigated. We have a second job break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel, TeleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's more recent events. Final job break, don't go away. Welcome back. The Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Radio and Television Artists, SAG-AFTRA, and the strike began on May 2 after reaching an agreement with major film studios. While the cessation of the strike was announced, the agreement in principle reached on Wednesday had yet to be approved by the union's board and its members. For his part, the organization representing the studios said it was pleased with the agreement, which it described as a new paradigm. Details of the agreement were not immediately available, but according to union representatives, as of Thursday, this strike has come to an end. In the United States on Wednesday, the Republican presidential candidates held a debate in Florida State, while the Asian candidate Donald Trump held a rally a few kilometers away. The debate focused the discussion on issues such as the crisis in Ukraine and Palestine, foreign policy with China, abortion, the arrival of immigrants to the country, and the future of the party. Former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis took center stage in an effort to be the leading candidates in the event of Trump's possible disqualification. For his part, former President and Republican Party frontrunner Donald Trump at the unison event focused his remarks on blaming the Biden administration for the current socioeconomic crisis. The third debate came just a day after Democrats scored key electoral victories in conservative swing states, particularly on abortion rights. On Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin hailed strengthening of military ties with Beijing as he received a senior Chinese general in Moscow. In a televised remarks, the Russian president said Moscow and Beijing were not building a Cold War-style military alliance, but the cooperation between them is a serious factor symbolizing the global situation. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu had early welcome thanks and a Chinese military delegation in a red carpet ceremony in the Russian capital. Beijing has become Russia's key political and economic ally amid Moscow's isolation on the world stage, and putting a Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, has presented a united front against the West. The two countries signed a strategic partnership with elements a few days before the conflict between Russia and Ukraine last February, and since then have staged multiple rounds of joint military exercises. Russian President Vladimir Putin denounced that the U.S. is trying to incite tension in the Asia-Pacific region and threatened China and Russia are strengthening their defense capabilities.
We can see attempts by some countries to expand their area of influence. And the North Atlantic Alliance, oddly enough, in violation, in my opinion, of its own doctrinal documents, makes an attempt to go beyond its geographic sphere of influence. More and more, the United States has increasingly drawn the alliance members into inciting tensions in the Asia-Pacific region and tried to create new military political alliances, including countries of the region proceeding from its own selfish interests. We can see all this, and together with our friends, in particular, and above all the People's Republic of China, we react to this in a calm and balanced way. We strengthen our defense capabilities, in particular, through joint naval and air exercises. We do this on a regular basis, and the level of our interaction constantly increases.
For his part, the Vice Chairman of China's Central Military Commission, Zhang Joshua, is part of the need to work together to deepen ties and cooperation between their militaries.
In the face of the changing international situation, you lead Russia to cope with risks and challenges. Facts prove that no difficulties can overwhelm you and Russia, to which China shows admiration. My visit this time mainly aims to implement the consensus reached by you and the President, and work together with Minister Shoigu to deepen the cooperation between our militaries.
And we have come to the end of this news brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news source of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social networks, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.